Hey guys, so headlines like these are always meant to grab attention, but the real question is, are they valid? And one thing that you've got to be careful of is national real estate news versus local. Especially here in Utah, we almost have our own economy that's independent of the rest of the country. So, right now in Utah, as of August 2026, I describe our housing market as healthy but selective. So, it's definitely not a crashing market, but it's also not the frenzy that we had a couple years ago. The most recent statewide numbers that I'm crunching are actually encouraging. So in June, home sales were up 4.5% year over year, again, compared to the previous year in June, versus some of these articles are saying, oh, May to June, it's dropped and stuff like that. And that's seasonal. So they have to account for that. And a lot of times they don't. Home prices were actually up 2.1% year over year, and the number of homes for sale was essentially the same. So that combination, more transactions, modest appreciation, and stable inventory is actually a fairly healthy setup. In Utah County, we have in general about 3 months worth of inventory, but the median days on market is about 60 still. So overall prices haven't collapsed, even though the buyers have become more patient. And so here's what I'm seeing in the numbers. The biggest change isn't necessarily price, it's buyer behavior. I'll say that again. The biggest change I'm seeing isn't necessarily price, it's buyer behavior. Buyers have choices and they don't feel the urgency they did a couple years ago. They're willing to pass on a home that's overpriced or it needs updating, it's in a poor location, or it just doesn't check enough boxes. And so that's why the market can feel kind of slow to a seller, even though in general prices are appreciating. For sellers, I'd characterize it as a price sensitive market, and a great home priced correctly can still move quickly, even potentially getting multiple offers. But the strategy of pricing 5 to 10% above where the market thinks the home belongs, and seeing what happens, it's not a winning strategy. It's not going to work today. For buyers, it's actually a pretty favorable environment if you can handle the payment. And there are ways to make that even more affordable because you have leverage, you have more negotiating power. You can get things like closing costs covered by the sellers, you can get rate buy downs, you can get repairs. So there's less money out of pocket to actually move into the home. So, in general, here's what I'm summarizing the Utah market as. It's not crashing. Prices are generally holding or increasing even modestly, but buyers have regained leverage. The biggest change is that homes have to earn the buyer's attention now. Homes have to earn the buyer's attention now. Condition, location, and especially pricing matter more than they have in previous years. Everyone's situation